my former teachers. He's on the faculty at Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa, where he teaches trumpet and jazz studies. And what he's going to talk about today is multi-track audio and multi-track video, and how to do that effectively and to sound good and to kind of navigate all the challenges and processes of doing that, because that, especially during quarantine, that has become a really good creative outlet for people. And I know some of you have interest in doing that. So without further ado, please welcome Andy Classen.
Hello, everybody. Um, One of the natures of technology, I think I'm too dark, uh, is that the more technology you have, the more potential you have for things to get screwed up. And I got my system working great. And there were things I wanted to show you, but I do that stuff on a different computer. So I may not be able to. The video part of it. But I could definitely show you some audio things. And so this all started, well, with the pandemic. And all of us, including your teachers who are gigging musicians, well, all of the gigs went away. I was working constantly. And then Friday in a Des Moines Symphony rehearsal where we were playing Carmina Burana with a 200-piece choir, they said, oh, we're shutting everything down. And so that was done. And then the next week we are going to play a Broadway show. Well, Broadway shows shut down, and then everything shut down. So all of us musicians were without outlets. And the Des Moines Symphony started this at-home thing where they'd pay us $100 if we submitted a video. So I decided, well, I like recording and multi-track, and I know how to do all that stuff. So I'm going to use GarageBand and create a six-piece thing on a Take 6 tune. And that was my first foray into doing this. I used GarageBand, which is free on any Macintosh. And so I'm going to show you that. This is my first video, and I will go to screen sharing in a moment when I get it up. Okay. Seriously. Okay, screen sharing. What's live on YouTube? Is that what this is? I just
Yes.
upgraded my computer. So Safari unknown. It's giving me a triangle. Open system preference security. Okay, I got a grant access apparently. I just upgraded my computer this morning, kind of by accident. It said I couldn't run Final Cut Pro, and so I said upgrade, but I was upgrading like a major upgrade to the most recent operating system. So let's see what we got here. Zoom US will not be able to record contents of your screen until it quits. I don't want to record. I just want to. Oh my God. Well, let's try again. Oh, okay. Yay. I got something working. Okay. Can you see YouTube?
We can.
Yay. Okay, I got to go way, way back. This was my first one. Yeah, Quiet Place. So I just took a piece. Take 6 is this great, phenomenal vocal group that has amazingly dense harmonies. And I transcribed it just for my own purpose of learning what they do that makes it so cool. So I already had it transcribed. So I arranged it for what I had then, which is trumpet, flugel, and then what I call my bass flugel, which is a 4-valve flugel, so it allows me to play chromatically down to pedal C, so that gave me a bass voice. And hopefully you'll hear this. If you can't, you gotta let me know. Hello, Yeah, we can skip. Here's my.
Is it possible to turn the volume up, Andy?
I'll try. I'm looking. I'm looking. So, to be clear, you can't hear it? Yes, no? Hello?
We can. It's just very, very soft.
Wow, I got this cranked. I got my internal speaker volume cranked. Over loopback. I got it as hot as I think I can get it. Wow, I've never had this issue before.
Maybe try stop screen sharing and then press screen share again, but click the button that says share computer audio on the window that pops up. It's at the bottom.
I'll try it. Is that better?
Oh, yeah.
So that was my start. And hold on. So then the bug was kind of in me. Again, I use GarageBand, really simple. And you can also use a program called Audacity, which is free. Obviously, doesn't have the features that other software does. And I used GarageBand for most of my project until I got to, I did Channel 1 Suite, which is like 9 minutes long. and it has 3 major sections and tempo changes and meter changes, and GarageBand just wasn't powerful enough. So I purchased Logic Pro with Final Cut Pro, the video editing software. I also used a very simple video editor that I already owned called ScreenFlow for the first many. And then when I got Final Cut Pro, a little bit of a learning curve, but it made things way cooler in terms of transitions and setting up the multi camera displays. So that was really simple, and anybody can do that. You need an arrangement, right? And if you don't arrange, you can find something on the internet, and then you just start with layers. I did obviously one part at a time. I always had a tuner on my stand, so I made sure that, you know, when I was laying something down, it was solidly in tune, so that when I put the next part on it, that was in tune. So to have a good intonational foundation, and through the process, it really helps your critical thinking in terms of music. And I record when I practice all the time, so this is nothing new to me, and I certainly encourage all my students to do that. You hear more when you see the waveform. You see your crescendos, you see your releases, you see good attacks or bad attacks. You see if you're being consistent from part to part in terms of style and articulation and timing. And then you can fix things, right? So with kind of this home studio recording, it's not like you lay down one track and that's all you get. You can go back and go, well, I didn't like bar 3 and 4. So you can re-record bar 3 and 4 and constantly polish the final product, you know, and then when you're happy listening to it, then you go, okay, that's good. And then once I got the audio completely done, that's when I start processing the video. But I don't deal with the video until the audio is to my standard. Anybody have any questions? Is this anything that interests anybody? Anybody? Go ahead. Because I'd prefer to steer this based on what you guys are interested in.
I don't have any questions so far, but this is definitely something that I'm interested in and getting into. And I think at least like the video aspect has always seemed like insurmountable to me, who's like not super technically inclined.
Well, I wish I could show you that. I tried to pull up Final Cut Pro, and it says it can't find any of the files. I don't know why. Yeah, it just says it can't find them. Because I did it on a different computer, transferred it to an external drive, and so now it's not liking it. And I'd love to show you it, but I think it would be a huge hassle. Let's see if I can... give me 1 second here. Yeah, I just... If you ever hit a bad technology day, I'm having one. Final Cut Pro isn't that complex. There's a timeline, and you just you dump your audio on there, and then you dump a video on there, and then you sync them. So you line up the audio. That's what I do. I line up the audio between the video and the good audio, and then I turn off the audio on the video because that's my iPhone, and so I don't want that audio polluting the rest of the production. I wish I could get that to work. Question, somebody?
Yeah, well, here's a different question that maybe you can answer. When you are recording these parts, do you normally start with melody and then go to like bass line? Do you put down like the bass line first, and then it seems that melody would be the most like intuitive to start with, but I don't do much of this.
Yeah, what do I do? My last project was a classical thing, because I actually had a classical concert coming up and I hadn't played one in 6 months. So I did the Tartini Trumpet Concerto. And with that, I started in the middle. I laid down all of the accompaniment parts. Now, okay, I'm going to diverge. So in this process, like I said, I had my bass flugel. It's not really a bass flugel, but it's a 4-valve flugel that allowed me to play some low notes. And then I did Malaguena, which had mellophone, and I borrowed a mellophone from Drake. And mellophone is a lot of fun. I marched in drum corps, and I played mellophone like in 1983. But I got this mellophone because Stan Kenton's Malaguena actually was written with mellophonium parts, which was the precursor to the mellophone. And that was so much fun. So that added a mid-range voice. And then I was like, man, I wish I had a bass trumpet. So let me show you. So this is only for trumpet nerds, but this is a bass trumpet. It's basically a bell front baritone. And so it plays in the same octave, it's in B flat, as a trombone. Completely different skill set than playing the trumpet. This is a trombone mouthpiece, and so that was a fun learning curve for me, and it added the bass voice. And again, I'm just all by myself because we're in, pandemic quarantine mode, and so I can't play with anybody else. So adding that, and I did that with my Minuano video. That was the first time. I scoured the internet and found one place in Wisconsin, Stevens Point, Wisconsin, Gym Lab Music, that actually carried bass trumpets. So I bought one. So now I had bass trumpet, mellophone, and all of my trumpets, Piccolo, B flat, C, D, whatever. And so, yeah, a lot of times I didn't start with the lead voice. Usually I started in the middle where I was comfortable, and then kind of expanded outwards. And a lot of times I would lay down the bass part last because I'm least comfortable on the bass trumpet. So let me show you something else. I'll show you Malaguena because that was a lot of fun. So let's see. I'm going to do it right this time. I got computer audio set. Okay. So back to my videos. Oops. Yeah, we already saw that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Okay. How'd I end up there? So this is when I added mellophone. So I've been doing a lot of these, obviously, because I've got nothing better to do. Even still. I'll skip the intro. I also talked a couple friends, Steve Charleston on bass and Mark Grimm coming in, and I did them individually in our Turner Jazz Center. And what's nice is nothing was happening in there, so I got the setup for 6 mics on the drums, direct feed from the bass amp. And all of this is click track, right? And so if there are tempo changes, then I have to set up the click properly. But these guys are great at playing with a click. So I recorded all my parts, and then I would call those guys in, and they would come in for an hour one evening, and we would put down their parts. So, audio stop. There we go. Yeah. So, as Mr. Kraft can probably tell you, I am a person of excess, and so I start something. It's like, well, maybe I could do a little more, and maybe I could do a little more. So that was 4 mellophones, 4 flugels, 4 cornets, and 4 trumpets. And that one took a long time to lay down. And, I don't do a whole track at a time. With good recording software, you can do segments and then again, go back and fix things. What I love about Logic Pro is, so you got your main take. And if you re-record over it, it creates layers. They're called composites. And so then you can take the best, let's say you have 4 takes of the same thing. You can take parts of each take and take the best parts of each take and build your final composite. So that's what I've been doing. Now, I've changed tacks since the semester began. And at Drake, we've been very fortunate that I have an amazing, very large jazz space with good air circulation. We started the semester outside. We had a nice space with a cover, and we rehearsed outside, and then we played 1 outside concert, 7 tunes. And then for the rest of the semester, we rehearsed 2 days a week for an hour and a half. I would have half the band, so saxes and rhythm section, so about 10 people. And then the other day it would be brass, so it'd be 5 trumpets, 5 trombones, so 10 people. And we would record, and this is all studio recording. So that means they're all in headphones. They all got click tracks, and they can be spread out. It doesn't matter that they're not next to each other. And using the same methodology, other than the only thing I changed was video was section by section. And what we would do is, run the tune, do the video, and then we'd clean it up. So what they played while they did the video didn't necessarily end up as the audio recording. So know that. And that's kind of the nature of anybody that does professional music videos. Those people aren't singing live. They have pre-recorded it, and they're basically syncing to it. So that's been really fulfilling. We got shut down a little early. We got shut down last Thursday, and I got to have one final session with the trumpets Saturday, and we did finish the 7th tune. So hopefully, maybe you can get something like this going next semester. I hear you're going to be able to rehearse in bigger spaces, and maybe you have recording capability. I'll show you what I did with Drake Jazz 1. So it sounds okay now?
Sound is good.
Okay. So I haven't been doing any of my own projects lately because I've been doing this. And so you'll get an idea. It's pretty much the skills I learned doing this by myself. I was like, what can we do this semester? And I thought, well, we can do that. And we got a recording studio. We're very lucky. So this is one of the tunes we've done this semester. And I had each student do their, I did the sections with my iPhone, and then each rhythm section player just used their own iPhone or Samsung or whatever and recorded video. Then they sent me the links. I compiled it, and now I'm using Final Cut Pro for the video, so the video's way better. Yeah, so you can see my video production has improved over time. That's the thing I knew least about. Um, and you just learn by doing. Like I said, I'm using Final Cut Pro now. There's a package if you have a Mac and you're a student or an educator. You for $199 you can get Final Cut Pro, Logic, which is the audio software, and Motion, which allows you to create effects, and Compressor, which takes the audio that you've recorded, and when you bounce it down to a 2-track, then it compresses it for whatever format you want, which is amazing. It just saves so much labor. So if you want to get into it, get a mic. Number one, you should all have some kind of large diaphragm mic. There's something on Amazon. I know it's less than $50. I forgot what it's called, but it's a USB large diaphragm microphone, and microphone, computer, and then some software. Audacity's free, so if you want to screw around, just start with that. Lay down a click, get an arrangement, put down a part, put down the next part, fix the things you don't like, and yeah, I don't know, it's something that's very fun and fulfilling for me, in the absence of playing with real people. So, are there any questions?
Yeah. Do you make the click tracks with the software, or do you use a different program for that?
No, almost all programs have some kind of click.
Okay.
Let me see if I can actually pull something up in Logic. Give me 1 second. This will work because I do all my recording on this computer. This is in my living room. You can see that all the video looks exactly like what you're seeing now. So this was a classical one. Whatever. So all of the ones I've done personally are jazz, and of course the jazz band's doing all jazz. So I decided to do this one that's classical. So let's see if I can screen share this, and I'll do the same thing with the audio. Logic. Okay. So tell me if you can hear this. Can you hear that? Yes, no?
It's yeah, we can. It's soft, but we can hear it.
Oh my God. Why? I clicked on the right buttons this time.
It's all right. It's hearable. Go ahead.
Okay. So at any rate, this was small. It's a Piccolo trumpet concerto. I recorded 2 trumpet parts, and then a mellow part, and then my bass trumpet part. And it's written for 4 strings, right? It's a small string orchestra, so 2 violins, cello, and bass. And so I did viola and bass. So I did the viola part on mellophone. I did the trumpet parts on D trumpets because the piece is in the key of D, so that put me in C. But so this is what a Logic file looks like. I'm just expanding it. Right? So I'm just going to show you what I mean by composite. So the bass trumpet especially, I'm not that good at it. So if I click on this expansion area, you can see I recorded it 4 times. And so I can listen and compare and then pick the one that, I like the best, right? So if I were to solo this track, you'll hear this. Right? And then I can go, okay, well, what about this one? Do I like this? That was the one I used, this one. See, last night wasn't so good. So this one, wasn't too bad. and then this. It's not like the first note was sharp. So I ended up using this. And that's how easy it is. You record layers, and then you just select, and I could select one note from this one, and one note from this one, and one note from this one if I wanted to do that. Right? So you can record multiple takes and then just pick what you like the best. And the effects, I'm using like a big reverb on this because, I wanted it to sound like a classical church or something. But it's nothing more than selecting a track and recording, and then maybe recording part of it again, and mixing's pretty straight ahead. These little things right here are volume, and you can change the volume for individual notes if you're that uptight about it, or just sections. Right, so I still have that soloed.
So Andy,
Yeah.
when you're doing this with when you're playing different instruments, or when you have a group of people, like you're recording your big band, are you giving people a pitch reference?
Oh.
Are they ever playing along?
Well, no. With myself, like I said, I'd start with a tuner and make sure whatever the first part I lay down is in tune. But other than that, it's just listening to each other, and and then with my band, especially because they're learning, we'll listen to something, and then maybe I'll solo. Like we had a piece, ballad, loved one, where lead alto and lead trumpet were playing in unison. So I'd solo lead trumpet and lead alto, and listen to them and go, yeah, somebody's out of tune. And then I would make notes, basically put in markers on the file so that the next session I had with that section, I could go, okay, let's fix this. That was out of tune. Your timing was bad here, whatever. And so it was kind of one session where we'd lay something down, then I'd listen to it, and then we'd go back and I'd say, okay, listen to this. This needs to be fixed. So it was usually 2 sessions with my band for each tune, right? So there was putting it down and then identifying what needed to get better and then making it better. And they were very responsive. And like, there's one thing I remember, the trombones were like, oh, you're playing this rhythm wrong, right? It's like supposed to be and a 1 or and a 2 and on 1, and they were doing something else, and they were like, you know what, we have never played that right. I mean, we played a concert, and they just, one of those things where they played it wrong the first time, and then just it felt good, so they kept it there. So you can really learn a lot in the recording process, that because everybody's individually mic'd. That's another key thing with my college band, is that everybody's individually mic'd. I can solo anybody, and they I should say, it can be embarrassing. It's like, okay, let's listen to what you did. It's like, oh, that ain't so good. But it's also reality. And so by identifying what isn't working or what they didn't play well, we make the whole thing better. And next semester, we're going to reverse the process because it's winter. So I've already picked out 8 tunes. I've already passed them out, so they're gone. And when we come back, I'm hoping that they will have prepared. And then we'll start recording and doing the same thing. And then when it warms up in the spring, then we're going to take those 8 tunes and play an outdoor concert. And I think in that process, we'll have identified all the mistakes and fixed everything so that they're going to play that live concert pretty well, because everything has been scrutinized.
That's great. Does anybody have any questions for Andy before we wrap up? Any further questions?